पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। So okay, so we'll recite the verse and then start. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadhyasya yato अन्वयादितरतश्चार्थेषु अभिज्ञस्वराट्. We'll recite that. जन्मादस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थेषु अभिज्ञस्वरान् तेने ब्रह्महृदाय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरया तेजो वारिमृदं यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषान् धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि. Translation. O my Lord, Shri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, O all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I meditate upon Lord Shri Krishna because he is the absolute truth and the primeval cause of all causes of creation, sustenance, and destruction of manifested universes. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations, and he is independent because there is no other cause beyond him. It is he only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Brahmaji, the original living being. By him, even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion, as one is bewildered by the illusory representation of water seen in fire and land seen on water. Only because of him do the material universes, temporarily manifested by reactions of three modes of nature, appear factual, although they are unreal. I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Sri Krishna, who is eternally existent in the transcendental abode, which is forever free from the illusory representations of material world. I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth. So today we shall be continuing with the discussion from Vinmayo Yatra Trisargo Misha. Only because of him do the material universes temporarily manifested by the reactions of three modes of nature appear factual, although they are unreal. Now, this material existence is actually more or less illusory. Everything in this creation is created by the three modes of material nature. What are the three modes? Three modes are nothing but the three invisible energies. There are three invisible forces which exist in this creation. They are called Triguna. This material nature is called Gunamayi. Devi Esha Gunamayi. Gunamayi means which is consisting of three modes of material nature. So there are three modes or three invisible forces by which the material energy controls everything and everyone in this creation. So what are the three modes? Three modes are nothing but goodness, passion, and ignorance. The name itself suggests Sattva, Rajas, Tama, which literally means goodness, passion, and ignorance, suggests that anything that is created by the three modes, by these three different modes, actually has the qualities related to that particular mode. So everything in this creation is actually created by three modes. Whether you talk about the bodies of different living entities, like human beings, demigods, yakshas, or animals, birds, beasts, or even if some viruses, one of which has brought the whole world to kneel down. Practically, in my whole life, I never saw such a phenomenon of shutting down the entire planet practically. Every country on the planet is shut down, more or less. So, all these different living entities, their bodies are created by three modes. Whether you talk about different material or different matter, wood, earth, water, everything that you can imagine of. All the substances that we studied in our school days, in chemistry table, the table of elements, all those elements, everything is created by three modes. Different emotions that we possess or exhibit, or different interactions between living entities. So anything you can imagine, even different times of the day, they are actually controlled by the three modes. For example, morning time. Early morning time is considered to be the time in the mode of goodness, especially the time which is 1 hour and 36 minutes before the sunrise. From that point onwards, the energy of goodness is on top. The whole atmosphere is saturated with the energy of goodness. And therefore, anyone who gets up a little before that and engages in some spiritual activities during that time, which is called Brahma Muhurta, imbibes that energy of goodness in the life. We should know uh, our lifestyle also is categorized in three modes. Our belief system is also categorized in three modes. Like, for example, all over the world, they follow this English calendar system, which the day begins at the midnight. This is actually very, very significant. It conveys a lot of idea and beliefs of those culture. Now just imagine when the day is ending at 12 in the night and day begins at 12 in the night. That means mostly 12 o'clock, you're supposed to be sleeping, right? Most of people sleep during that time. That means your day ends with sleeping and your day begins with sleeping. So when your day ends with sleeping and begins with sleeping, there's every possibility that your life will also end with sleeping. Sleeping in the case means ignorance. But in Vedic culture, the day doesn't begin at 12 in the night. In the Vedic culture, the day begins at sunrise. And the day ends at the next day sunrise. So sunrise is the beginning and end of the day. Ending the previous day and beginning the new day. So people, those who sleep during sunrise, means they are beginning their day with sunrise, the sleeping, and they are ending their day with sleeping. So this is actually very, very crucial. So if somebody, everybody hearing the echo?
We are good, Prabhuji. We are good. Little bit, it's muffling a little bit, but not bad.
Okay. Let me see. So So it's very significant. If somebody is sleeping during sunrise, that means the person is ending their day with sleeping, they're beginning their day with sleeping. So when you begin and end your day with sleeping, every possibility that you will end your life also in ignorance. Therefore, in Srila Prabhupada actually made a very important and beautiful quote. He said, a devotee who does not rise before sunrise is not very serious about spiritual practices or his spiritual life. This is very, very significant because that time the mode of goodness is, especially 1 hour 36 minutes before sunrise, when mode begins, which lasts for 48 minutes. I mean, 48 minutes before sunrise, the Brahma Muhurta ends. So that 48 minutes window is so crucial. And anyone who is awake and engaged in some spiritual activities during that, not simply awake and engaged in some spiritual activities, can imbibe that energy within him. So even the different times of the day, they are saturated with goodness, passion. So everything in its creation, even colors, for example. The yellow color is considered the color of goodness. White or yellow is considered color of goodness. And red is considered the color of passion. Blue, black is considered the color of ignorance. And not that any color is good or bad, but everything has its own significance. Not that the ignorance in itself is bad. Ignorance is required also, just as much as goodness is required. But a person who synchronizes his life properly with goodness, passion, and ignorance while practicing Krishna consciousness can actually minimize the pain and experience of pain in his life. You cannot eliminate the pain because this world is called, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita.
Sorry, Prabhuji, to interrupt. Sorry, Prabhuji, it's the echo that it's muffling more.
Okay. Let me see what I can do about it. Just give me a second. I'll see if I can join from the phone. Mute my. Please give me a second. What are you saying? Meeting ID is not valid for some reason?
It is, Prabhuji.
It's saying the meeting ID that you sent me is saying it's not.
Prabhuji, it's coming. Actually, if you press in the link, it's not working. Just we need to type the number and it will be
Okay.
working.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ribo?
It's echoing.
Is it better now, Mataji?
Yeah, looks like Prabhuji.
Okay. Okay. So I have joined audio from the phone. Should be okay. So everything actually in this creation is nothing but the three modes of material nature. But the amazing thing about this world is this world is not really permanent. In that sense, it is not really factual. I think I am son of such and such person in such and such parents. But that's not factual because it's a reality which changes in due course of time. It's not a permanent reality. In fact, it's not reality at all. It's only out of illusion I think all the realities that I perceive in this world. For example, I considered, okay, this body, I consider I'm Indian or I'm American, I'm European, I'm black, I'm white, I'm man, I'm woman. All such designations are nothing but non-real because I as a spirit soul, I'm none of those. I'm actually spirit soul. So in that way, whatever realities we perceive in this world, they are actually unreal, but they appear so factual. So factual in the sense, we start considering that whatever situation I am in or whatever things I possess, including this body, they are everlasting. They are permanent. In fact, in Mahabharata, when Yaksha asked the question from Maharaj Yudhishthira, so one of the questions he asked is, what is the most amazing thing in this world? And Yudhishthira Maharaj replied, ahani ahani bhutani gachanti yamale shesha isthavaram isthanti shesha isthavaram icchanti kim ascharya param. He said, ahani ahani bhutani, unlimited living entities are on daily basis, every day. Ahani ahani bhutani gachanti yamale. They are going to the abode of Yamaraj. But what is the amazing thing? Shesha, those who are left behind, Shesha Ichhavaram is, Sthavaram Icchanti. They think I will live here permanently. So I see my father is gone. His father is also gone from this world. My grandfather is also gone. My great grandfather is also gone. Yet I think I'm going to stay here permanently. So in that sense, everyone thinks that this world is actually factual. I'm going to stay here forever. Whatever I have, whatever situation I have, whatever possessions I have, they are all permanent. My job is going to be going on all like that. My business, if I have some business, that will always be flourishing. I will go on living so-called happy life, which is not the reality. And therefore it says, Vinmayo yatra trisargo. It appears to be factual, but it's not really factual. This material world is actually compared to dreaming. There are, of course, a lot of examples given for this material existence. This world is very often, in Bhagavatam, you find that comparison of this world is done to a dream. That's actually very wonderful. In the night time, when we sleep, sometimes we see dreams. We actually create the whole world into the dream. Dreams are nothing but an illusion. So sometimes I sleep in the night and I see dream that all of a sudden I have become a king. I have kingdom. Actually, one person, one time he was, you know, his when he made a huge loss in the business, and his wife was crying, and the man, he was completely indifferent because he was more rooted in the spiritual values. So his wife said, "You don't have any concern? We lost all the wealth. We lost complete. In your business, we made a complete loss. You don't have any worry about that?" So the husband said, "Yesterday I was seeing a dream. In the dream, I had become a king. I had a kingdom. I had many, many wives. You're just one of my wife here. But in the dream, I had so many wives, beautiful queens. I had so many children. I had so much wealth. I had so much flourishing kingdom. I had so many ministers who were so obedient to me. But all of that is gone. So I should be crying for that loss. I lost so many queens. I lost so many children. I lost such a flourishing kingdom. Or I should be crying for this small business." The wife said, "What nonsense you're talking? It was just a dream." But actually speaking, Bhagavatam says even the life that we are living is nothing but more or less a dream. From the soul's perspective, this is nothing but a dream because there is no reality in any of my situations in life. I'm thinking, I belong to such and such family, which is not a reality. I, the spirit soul, do not belong to any family. Jivera Swarupa hoy Nitya Krishna Das. The living entity's constitutional position is he is Krishna's servant. Krishna Das. Nitya Krishna Das. Nitya means eternally. So our position is that we are eternally servants of Krishna. But beside that, whatever identification I have for myself is actually illusion. It's a dream. I'm dreaming that I'm having some other identity, which is not real. Bhagavatam gives a beautiful example in this regard. So there's one person, he's sleeping. He's sleeping and he's dreaming that he's running in the forest and a tiger is chasing him. And the person, he's actually lying on the bed, but he's dreaming that he's being chased by a tiger. Somebody who's standing next to him, the person is sleeping on the bed, but somebody is standing next to him near the bed. This person sees, though this person is lying on the bed, but his suffering due to tiger chasing is actually appearing to be real, though it is non-existent. When we say there is suffering is non-existent, that means is there any real tiger? No, there is no real tiger. A person who is awake standing beside the sleeping person knows there is no tiger. But here the person is crying, "Tiger, tiger, tiger chasing me." And not only screaming, he's perspiring as if he's actually running. So, though the suffering is actually non-existent, but the effect of the suffering is real. The person is actually screaming and crying out of fear of tiger. He's actually perspiring. So, in one way, there is no suffering for the sleeping person, but there is suffering. The suffering is nothing but the illusory dream. Now, for example, if I see a person is sleeping and he's suffering in that way, being chased by a tiger. What is the best way to remove the suffering of that person? Maybe take a gun and sleep beside that person and go into his dream and shoot the tiger? That's nonsense, right? Doesn't make any sense. The real way to eliminate or remove the suffering of the person is wake him up. Wake up the person from sleeping state and make him realize that he was actually dreaming. All his sufferings are gone. So this material world is actually compared with dreaming. Bhagavatam gives another example, that suppose a person is dreaming that his head is being chopped off. His head is chopped off. So he's feeling so much misery that my head is chopped off. But then Bhagavatam says, if a person's head is chopped off, how can a person suffer? There's no one to see that, right? If my head is chopped off, at the time of my head being chopped off, I'll have some suffering. But once the head is chopped off, where is suffering? Because I'm not there to see, right? But if a person is dreaming that my head is chopped off, then there is continuous suffering. So, therefore, Bhagavatam actually explains this material world where we are identifying ourselves with this body, and consequently we are experiencing the so-called happiness and miseries. They are nothing but a dream, because our identification with the body is also a dream, and therefore consequently all the happiness and distress resulting because of the body is also nothing but a dream. But the effects of that are actually factual. How? Because, for example, if somebody pinches my body, I actually feel some pain. Though I'm not this body, but if somebody puts injection in my body, I feel pain. So the effects are actually factual, because I am so deeply rooted in the dream. Now, some people, some philosophers, especially the Mayavad philosophers, they say that this world is unreal because it's temporary, therefore it's unreal. But Prabhupada mentions it is not imaginary or non-existent. This material existence is actually existing. It's called material existence. So it exists. But the Mayavadi theory, the world is actually temporary, and in that way it is unreal, but it's not imaginary. It's not that I'm imagining this world is existing. No, this world is actually not imaginary. It is real. The fact is, because I'm experiencing distress and happiness, which are like the effects of the dream a person is seeing. So this world actually is temporary and therefore it's unreal, but it's not unreal in the sense of imaginary or non-existent. No. Now, okay, we understand that all the miseries or suffering is due to living entities dreaming. I'm dreaming that I am this body. I'm dreaming that I'm experiencing happiness and distress in this body. So what is the way out? How do I wake up? Because waking up from the dream drives away all the suffering. So how do I wake up? Now, the wonderful lesson here to learn is, when a person is sleeping, mostly his whole existence is as good as that of a dead person. But there is only one organ in his body which is still active and alive, and that is ears. For example, if I sleep in the night, next morning I have early morning flight to catch, or I have to go early morning somewhere. So what I do, if I'm living alone by myself, there's no one at home, what do? I set up an alarm, right? If the alarm rings in the morning, even though nobody's touching me, even though the sleeping person is as good as a dead person, when the alarm rings, the person wakes up. So sound vibration is the most potent form of medium by which we can awaken a sleeping person. So what is the sound vibration? In order to wake up from the slumber caused by the material nature, we can actually take shelter of the transcendental alarm. This chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, is actually like an alarm clock. But we are sleeping so deep. Our sleep in this material existence is such a deep sleep. So we have to vibrate this sound vibration. The more we vibrate this sound vibration in our life, the more sooner we can actually be awakened from the slumber, from the ignorance that we are deeply rooted in. So to rise from the sleeping state in this material existence, the best and easiest way is to take shelter of the chanting of the holy name. And simply by chanting this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, which is like an alarm clock, all our ignorance, all our conditioning by the three modes of material nature goes away. And we actually awaken to our spiritual existence. The sound vibration is so potent. A person who even happens to hear the holy name from the lips of sincere practicing devotees, even if the person himself has not been chanting, if he happens to hear from the sincere devotees who are practicing Krishna consciousness, even that has a miraculous effect. I remember this was shared by some devotees from Mumbai with me. In Mumbai, there are a lot of different groups of devotees. They do Harinam Sankirtan. They go for Nagar Sankirtan. There's one such group which used to go to different railway stations in suburbs of Mumbai and do the Kirtan. So one time when they were doing Kirtan in one of the suburb railway stations of Mumbai, where the few devotees, they were chanting and they were playing musical instrument, they were singing this Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And right in the middle of that crowded railway station, one person comes out with a big knife in the hand. He comes in the middle of the devotees with a big knife in the hand, and he falls at their feet in the middle of them. They were amazed. Who is this person who's having such a big knife and he's bowing down? So they took him on the side and say, "What's wrong with you, sir? Why? What happened?" And he started explaining. He said that he was actually a professional killer. And he told the devotees that I take money and I kill people. And I've done so many, killing, so much killing I have done for the sake of money. He said mostly, the way I kill is, first of all, I track the person's regular schedule, what the person is doing on daily basis. And I follow him from his home to work, from work to different places he goes. And in 1 week's time, I get a good, understanding of his schedule. So one day, in a public place like this, railway station or some place, I bump into him and start an argument, and begin a quarrel. And in the middle of quarrel, I just take out the knife and stab the person and go away. So people think that it was just an ordinary street fight, and somebody got angry and killed him and went away. He said, I killed so many people like that. But he said, today when I was about to kill somebody, I had been tracking somebody and I was about to kill the person today, here on this station. I actually started the arguments and you people were chanting. In the back of their mind, the thought came. First time ever in my life, I thought, why am I killing somebody? Because you people were chanting. By hearing this chanting, it had an effect on my mind. I started thinking, there are so many people in this world who earn their livelihood. All these people who are running around here on this station, they don't kill anyone to earn their livelihood. Why do I need to? So he said, he actually confessed to devotees that, I have done so many sinful activities, but I want to actually chant this mantra that you are chanting. Please teach me and tell me what should I do. I've done so much killing. Of course, devotees explained him that he should go and surrender. So he went and surrendered actually to gods, confessed all his crimes. And of course, he was put in jail, but he was very happy. Even in the jail, he was continuing to chant the holy name of Krishna. Because he had no fear. He was awakened from the dream. So this is actually a living example. It's not that we are quoting from some Puranas which happened thousands or millions of years ago. No. This is something that is happening right in front of our eyes. This hearing of chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra is such a potent medicine. It wakes up the person from the dreaming state. It cures the disease that we have, the disease of ignorance. Wakes up and situates us in transcendental plane, making us understand and realize our real identity, that we are not this body, but we are spirit soul. So I think with this, we'll stop here. If anyone has any questions, you may ask.
So, Prabhuji, I have a question. So, about this modes of material nature, these three modes. So, all the living entities, everything in this material existence, is guided by these three forces. So, what about devotees?
Well, everyone in this world is actually very much in the grip of three modes of material nature. When we talk about the devotees, to the degree a devotee is sincerely surrendered to practice the process of Krishna consciousness, and to the degree a devotee is sincerely practicing Krishna consciousness, to that degree the person is free from the three modes of material nature. So it's proportionate to one's sincerity and surrender to the process of Krishna consciousness. For example, in the morning, I chant my 16 rounds. But evening, after finishing my work, I want to watch some movie. Okay? To that degree, I will be under the grips of three modes. But if morning, I chant my rounds, evening, as soon as I finish my work, I pick up some book, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya, and I try to absorb my consciousness in understanding the teachings that the Vedavyas and all the previous acharyas have given us, in order to meditate on the Supreme Lord and his teachings, on his pastimes, to that degree, I would be free from the influence of three modes. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam sathaiva bhajami. To the degree a person surrenders to me, to that degree I reciprocate. So Krishna also reciprocates with us based on our effort or our sincerity. And to the degree a person is sincere in Krishna consciousness, to that degree he and or she is free actually from the three modes of material nature. Because three modes of material nature are nothing but Maya. Maya Shakti is made up of three modes of material nature. And Chaitanya Charitamrita says, Krishna bhuliya jiva bhoga vansha kare, nikatastha maya tare, jhapatiya dhare. Krishna bhuliya, when a living entity wants to forget Krishna, and Krishna bhuliya jiva bhoga vansha kare, he desires to enjoy the pleasures of this world, forgetting Krishna. Then what happens? Nikatastha Maya. Maya is not very far, situated in some millions of miles away. No, Maya is situated very next to each and every person, even every devotee. Maya is there right next to him. Krishna, Maya, both are there. But to the degree a person wants to forget Krishna, to that degree Maya tries to kill him immediately. Nikatastu Maya tare, jhapatiya. Jhapatiya means immediately. Jumps upon and captures the person. So, in one way, we can never ever be independent. Either we are surrendered to Krishna or we are surrendered to Maya. One of the two is bound to be there. There is no question of being in between. I am neither surrendered to Krishna nor surrendered to Maya. No. Either you are surrendered to Krishna or you are surrendered to Maya. There is no position in between. Hope that makes sense, Madhu.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you. Can I ask you one more question, Prabhuji?
Yes, Madhu, please go ahead.
So, without Vaishnava Prada, how should a devotee, deal with this Maya among the devotees?
Without Vaishnava Prad, how should a devotee
deal with the devotees who are in this, Maya, this modes, sometimes you come across. So without offending them, what should be your approach, as a Vaishnava?
Well, the simplest way to avoid Vaishnava Aparadha is by following the etiquette. There is something called Vaishnava etiquette. If we follow the Vaishnava etiquette, and in order to follow the Vaishnava etiquette, we have to remind ourselves of Vaishnava etiquette. Therefore, every day in the morning we read, all 7 days in a week. Every single day in the morning we read Vaishnava etiquette for a minute or two, reminding ourselves 2 or 3 things of Vaishnava etiquette, so that the more we know, the more we remind ourselves, the more we will be actually inspired to follow that. So therefore we read Vaishnava etiquette every day so that we can follow that and avoid aparadha.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
I have a question. So Prabhuji, the soul is in the body. Now we say that when a person dies, the soul never dies, and the relationship is to the soul. But when I am when I have a near and dear one, now I identify that person when the soul is in that body. Now if that person is no more, but the soul is always there, I do not know where the soul goes, which body it takes, and then I feel the loss of that person. How do we deal with that, Prabhuji?
Well, it's natural when somebody near and dear one dies. It's very natural to feel separation and feeling the loss of the person. There's nothing not unnatural about it, because soul by nature had a tendency to become attached to. It's not something unnatural for the soul. Soul becomes attached to wherever it remains, whatever it associates with. The soul naturally becomes attached to that. So, for example, if I'm living in a family, it's very natural for me to become attached to family members. If I'm living in a home, it's very natural for me to become attached to home. If I'm using a particular phone, it's very natural for me to become attached to a phone. If I'm wearing a shirt, it's natural for me to become attached to a shirt. So, getting attached is nature of the soul. Therefore, in Krishna consciousness, we say we should try to associate with devotees. We should try to associate with Krishna through hearing. When we hear about Krishna, we are actually associating with Krishna. But this is actually a very crucial lesson. The more we hear about Krishna, the more there is a possibility of becoming attached to Krishna. And if we become attached to Krishna successfully, then all the other attachments will become actually insignificant. So it's our process of Krishna consciousness is not that of becoming detached from anything. We don't even try to become detached from sense gratification. No, that's not our process. Our process is process of attachment, because we understand soul. For the soul, it's very natural to become attached to. Only thing soul needs to do is associate. So all we need to do is associate with Krishna by hearing about his pastimes, hearing about his teachings in Bhagavad Gita, hearing about, his devotees. Then we naturally become attached to Krishna and his devotees. And then, we don't have to really put extra effort not to feel loss of anything that is material, because you'll naturally become detached. Hope that answers your question, Madhani.
Yes, Prabhuji, but it's just that getting attached to people is much easier than getting attached to Krishna.
It's actually not true, Mataji. Getting attached to Krishna is much, much more easier than getting attached to anyone in this world. You know how? Because getting attached to Krishna, all you need to do is simply chant Hare Krishna every day. Whether you like it or not, you simply pick up the Japmala and chant Hare Krishna. That's the simplest and easiest way to become attached to Krishna. But in order to be and remain attached to anyone in this world, you have to put a lot of effort. Just imagine, we may feel, like for example, when man and woman are married, they may feel a lot of hankering for having a child, right? The woman may feel, I want to have a child. But once you have children, it's a lot of commitment. You have to work a lot to take care of them and to remain attached to them. And in spite of you work a lot, you try to serve them in so many ways, still, sometimes their behavior makes you detached from them. You have to overlook so many things in your children to remain attached to them. So actually, in order to remain attached to anyone in this world, you have to work very hard. For example, if you are attached to your new home, right? You may buy a new home. You may buy a new car, and you may be very much attached to it. But to maintain that attachment to the car is something that you have to work very hard for. You have to maintain your car nicely. You have to get your car clean nicely. You know? If the car meets with one accident, one dent comes, all your attachment is gone. You feel some pain for that moment, but then you have become indifferent to that car. Anyone bangs, anyone does anything, you become detached, right? So actually, to remain attached to anything in this world requires a lot of effort. But the problem is, because of this bodily concept of life, because of this illusion of thinking that I am this body, living entity foolishly puts a lot of effort to remain attached to things which are not going to bring any real happiness. But in order to become attached to Krishna, it's very, very simple and very easy actually. All you need to do is just chant Hare Krishna every day. Take out some time. Just imagine, is it a big deal to take out maybe a couple of hours every day and chant Hare Krishna? 22 hours you dedicate for your family, for your body and the things that you possess. Just 2 hours you might want to give to Krishna, just to chant the holy names and hear a little bit about Krishna. And the result is enormous. You naturally become detached from everything in this world. 2 versus 22. Just imagine. You give 11 times more time to the material existence. And you just give it 2 hours, sincerely 2 hours you give to Krishna. If you do it for, I'm not saying even whole life, if you just do it for 30 years, you will see naturally your attachment to everything in this world fades away. Just see the proportion. 2 hours and 22 hours. 22 hours you are spending for the body and 2 hours you spend for Krishna. Just do it for 30 years and you will see your attachment for Krishna grows beyond imagination. Does that answer your question, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
And it's actually practical. It's not something, just philosophical. It's actually practical. If you sincerely do, chanting of Hare Krishna every day, you will see the effect. Now, somebody had asked the question here, if I chant Mahamantra in the morning and follow some rituals offering to our home God, Lord Shiva, whether Lord Krishna gets angry on me. No, it's not that Krishna gets angry if you do some worship to Lord Shiva. In fact, Lord Shiva is very dear to Krishna. If somebody worships Lord Shiva without any material motive, Lord Krishna is very pleased. If somebody worships Lord Krishna without any motive, Lord Shiva is very pleased. So don't worry, you can continue worshipping Lord Shiva as well with your rituals.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I have a question. Please excuse me if I'm asking wrong. Prabhuji, what you said.
Somebody already asked this question in chat.
Sure, Prabhu.
Then you can ask the question next. How do you feel attachment with Krishna? As I said, Madhuri, the process, attachment to Krishna is developed by a process. And the process is actually Shrunam Kirtanam. Hearing about Krishna and speaking about Krishna. So when you chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra every day, you are actually speaking Krishna's glories and you are hearing yourself as well. So actually chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra is the easiest form of hearing and chanting the glories of Krishna, by which you can develop attachment to Krishna. Okay. Yes, Madhu, Shisha Madhu, you can go ahead.
Prabhuji, so what you said, chanting is the way, just 2 hours to 22 hours. Prabhuji, it's not end with the chanting, right? As a neophyte, we need to develop so many things to keep our chanting consistently. We need to hear Bhagavatam, we need to go some classes or get something, because to chant we need to do. And after that we realize that we need to offer, Krishna, all services God centered. We have to do everything previously before coming into Krishna consciousness is different and come. So chanting is not a simple, I mean, is not the one thing. It's overwhelming. Like there are so much to do to grow in this, right, Prabhuji? Can you please help me?
Yes, Madhuri, definitely. But just imagine, even then, how much time you can spend on daily basis for the body and how much time you spend for Krishna. Straight away, 6 hours we sleep, minimum. Some people will sleep more, 7, 8 hours, right? 6 hours you sleep. Have you ever chanted at a stretch for 6 hours? No, right? Our sleeping alone is more than the amount of effort that we put in our spiritual life on daily basis. Guaranteed. Our sleep is much, much more than our daily effort on chanting and whatever things we do for Krishna, right? And what to speak of other time. So proportionately, time that we spend for the body and for Krishna to develop attachment for Krishna is actually very, very small. And yet, the results are enormous. Because by nature, the soul has dormant love for Krishna. The love for Krishna is already there within us. It's not that something we are trying to develop. No, we are not trying to develop love for Krishna. We are trying to revive our love for Krishna. It's already there. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabo Noy Shramana Adi Shuddha Chitte Karoy Udha. The love for Krishna is something that we try to revive by hearing and chanting. It's not something to be sadhya. It's not something to be imbibed. Okay. So if we do a little bit of Shravanam Kirtanam, that by the process of hearing and chanting Krishna's glories, the love for Krishna is revived.
Thank you, Prabhuji. It helps. Hare Krishna.
Okay, if there are no more further questions, then we can stop here. Okay, somebody has asked the question, how to set our mind